You're listening to the Dre Area Sports Show, live on YouTube and X. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Dre Area Sports Show. The Niners had a very ugly game this past Sunday, and they fucking lost. And it was not good on many fronts. Today I'm joined by Tyler LaRocca. You can find him on TikTok. And where else do you have your content at?
I just really got it on YouTube and X right now. X and TikTok are the main two.
The main two, there we go. So Tyler, yesterday we watched the Niners take on the Buccaneers. At the half, it felt good. We're down, 20-16 or something like that. It felt like, hey, look, they're still in this game. They can make a move here. And to be fair, at the end of the game, they still had a shot to at least tie the game. Okay, so we can say that they were in the game until the very, very end. And we'll talk about that as well. But holy shit. Yes, they lost. But the biggest news of the day was Fred Warner. Fred Warner broke his ankle, dislocated it, and broke it. And he will be out the remainder of the season. This is horrible news for the Niners. You're down Nick Bosa. Now you're down Fred Warner. Tyler, is there any hope for the Niners for the rest of the season? Can they still make the playoffs without Fred Warner or Nick Bosa?
I mean, here's my thing, man, is a lot like you said, right? Is just the loss hurts a lot more because Fred's gone. I think if you ask any Niner fan, if we lost by one possession and Fred was still fully healthy, you'd have a lot more faith in this team. But after something like that, man, you're just kind of sitting there. In my opinion, you're just kind of sitting there hoping. Our schedule's really easy. Our schedule's really basic. There's not a lot of competition, but in my opinion, that's kind of a worry to an extent because now you're a team that isn't a contender. Let's just be completely upfront with that. Without Nick, without Fred, it is hard pressed to see this team as a contender. And you have an easy schedule, so we're probably going to win at least a handful more games. And so if you miss the playoffs and you have a bad draft position, it really hurts all that much more. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. And I said it in my the video I posted last night. You can win without Nick Bosa or Fred Warner, but you can't win without Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. And look, here's my thing too, is that, we hear all this talk about John Lynch making calls, trying to find a pass rusher. At this point, you almost wonder, okay, maybe we pump the brakes on that because what's the point? Like any hope, any semblance of hope that was out there, the Niners could acquire a guy like a Trey Hendrickson, gone. After this, gone. No point.
Anyone is still. I've still seen people like, well, they could still make a move. I don't see the Niners making any sort of splash move, regardless. If, like, in my opinion, unless Max Crosby is being given away, like literally handed away, they're not going to make him. There's just no point. There's no point bringing on a Hendrickson or Crosby. I mean, my favorite prospect of the trades was Thibodeau. He's the only one that I think could be your splash trade that makes sense because he's young and you can extend him for Nick. But yeah, man, in my opinion, they should be sellers. I think you should be looking to offload people like Juwan. It seems like Juwan's kind of just his time here has come to an end. And
what was going on with that about him and Kyle Shanahan getting into an argument on the sidelines? I mean, look, it's a heated game.
Yeah,
there's passion being spilled left and right. But they were shouting at each other right at the end of the first half when they were trying to drive to score some points. They're over here yelling at each other, and that the coaching staff had to kind of like get in between them to kind of break it up. Like, hey, guys, chill out. So that's a little weird. What do you think about that? I mean, do you think this is the beginning of the end for Juwan Jennings on the Niners?
Yeah, I think Kendrick Bourne is kind of taking his spot, which is your worry if you're Juwan. Juwan's deal that he restructured is fully incentive based. And I think he's frustrated. I think he's upset that he can't stay healthy. I think he's upset that he's not getting targets. I think he's upset that he's playing bad. And so I think personally it's beginning of the end for Juwan. I would expect to see him traded within the next week or two. And I also wouldn't be surprised if the Niners tried to offload someone like Brandon Ayuk
They
nearing the end
might.
of the season.
They might, but oh wow, I did not know that. Wait, the Browns fire Stefanski?
What? No, they didn't.
Oh no, this is some dude saying they are expected to fire. So I fucked that one up.
I was gonna say, I was like, wait.
The head coach of the Titans did get fired.
Yep, I saw that.
That was inevitable. Mike
Yeah.
McDaniel's probably next. But like we were saying, I mean, this is the biggest news of the day. Out for the season, Fred Warner. You know, yesterday during the game, Danny Rossini reported that it was a dislocated ankle. For a moment, I was like, dude, maybe he comes back.
Yeah.
Fuck. And then they said, and Kyle Shanahan's like, dislocated ankle, broke it. I thought he was gonna cry. He was like, broke. I was like, oh no, fuck.
Yeah.
And once that happened, I mean, it's the prospects of making the playoffs. I think are still there because of the weak schedule.
Yeah, for sure.
But still, losing Fred Warner, I mean, I would say it's like the Trinity of the Niners, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, and I would say Brock Purdy because he's your quarterback. Now all three of them are even playing right now, and so now it's like all hope is lost. Now we'll talk about this in a minute, but Brock Purdy is likely going to come back next week.
Yeah, shocker.
So let me ask you this: with that in the horizon, do you think the Niners should go back to Brock Purdy, or they should keep riding Mac Jones?
In my opinion, here's the thing, right? Is Brock Purdy is now, a lot of people need to realize that if he comes back next week, regardless if Fred's hurt, if Nick Bosa's hurt, this is what makes $265 million worth it. You can't have the excuse, well, Fred and Nick's hurt. Josh Allen used to have his entire defense injured, like yearly, when he was still bringing the Bills to playoffs.
Yeah.
Sure, they didn't win, but if Brock Purdy's failing to beat teams like the Falcons without it, like, sure, you can make an excuse. And like we just said, we lost Fred Warner. Mac played in the same circumstances, was still a play away, a bad pick away from winning the game or tying the game, being in the game more, possibly, right? So if you go back to Brock Purdy, I still would not go back to Brock Purdy until he's 150% healthy, until he is literally like there is no lingering anything. I don't have soreness. There's not even a tingle in my foot when I am sprinting on it. I wouldn't personally go back to Brock Purdy. I think that's kind of the big thing is you're really putting – I think Brock has a lot of pressure on him at this point. And I think that's kind of worrisome if you're the Niners, if you're whoever, because he doesn't have a lot of room for error right now. Mac's been playing well. I personally think Mac is the better quarterback, very much so on record for that. I think Mac's just better. I think they got too desperate for a quarterback and got trigger happy and paid the wrong person. But if he says he's 100%, man, you have to throw him out there. You can't let $265 million sit on the bench.
If he was still on his rookie contract, that's a whole different story. If
For
this was
sure.
last year, the year before,
Yep.
hey, you can sit on the bench and we'll ride this guy for right now. But you paid him all that money. He has to prove that he's worth that money. And so I think that this Sunday coming up against the Falcons, which I do believe that he's going to start, I think this is probably one of the biggest games of his career, because if he goes out there and he shits the bed, I can only imagine what's going to happen on social media, with the mainstream media. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. And the question will arise, should Mac Jones be the starter moving forward? Now, let me ask you this, though, and truthfully, because I know if he has a bad game, you're probably going to be like, dude, get this fucking guy out of here. I don't want to see this guy. But how many games does Brock Purdy have to fail before they make a move and say, okay, you know what? Maybe you're not right. Maybe this isn't going to work out. How many games, how many bad games can he have?
So, again, in my opinion, a lot of people are just ignoring last season existed, which I don't understand why. Sure, the defense is bad. He still had 90% of his weapons. But this season, he's still on this multi-turnover game trajectory. In my opinion, they would turn back to Mac. I would probably say if he say he loses the next 3 and they're all multi-turnover games. It's not like, he's balling out and Tatum Bethune is just getting bullied with Siegel, behind him. Like if he has another, I would say 3 games of multi-turnovers, I think you might see Mac come in and however they frame it, whether it's, his toes just still hurt, yada, yada, yada. I don't think his leash is as long as a lot of people think, especially because you can't win football games turning the ball over multiple times a game. You just can't.
You can't. And look, I know there are quarterbacks out there, I'm a Brock Purdy fan, but there are quarterbacks out there like Josh Allen, even Joe Burrow, Matt Stafford. They can turn the ball over a couple times, but they have the raw skill and talent where they're like, I don't give a fuck how many times I turn it over. I'm going to win this game right now, and they just have that ability. And that's what I think, the quarterbacks, hold on. Sorry, my phone was ringing. The quarterbacks with that kind of, with those talents, they get the benefit of the doubt because they're like, hey, he's going to make up for it. He's going to make up for it. Right. Brock Purdy, and this is the stat that has me on the fence with Brock. Like I said, I'm a Brock Purdy fan. I like Brock Purdy, but in his last 17 starts, he has 16 interceptions.
Yeah,
that's
rough.
Not good.
Yeah, it's very rough. The Brock Purdy thing. I know people. People think I dislike Brock. I think he's a great dude, and I think he was a great story. And that's been my thing is I think I have no ill will towards Brock Purdy. I just don't think he's good. And that's the biggest issue is he doesn't have the arm talent. And when he's not taking what the defense is giving him, which is what made him so successful in 2022, 2023, he plays like he has more talent than he actually does. He makes throws where you're like, well, if you were Matt Stafford, that throw would probably work out. But you're not. You're Brock Purdy. And he turns down checkdowns far too often. And it's one of the things that makes Mac, it makes the offense with Mac hum so well, is he's just taking what he's given. Kyle's system, as everyone points out, is a foolproof system. So just stick to it. They don't need you to improvise. Mac Jones has thrown 300 yards 2 games in a row. The dude's throwing 40 times a game. And outside of yesterday, he didn't have a multi-turnover game with him yet.
Yeah.
So the proof is in the pudding. If Brock can just do what he did in 22 and 23 and be like, you know what? I don't know if the chatter of him being a system quarterback got to him, but if he could just quiet that noise and be like, I'm just going to do whatever it is I need to do. I'm going to take my checkdowns. I'm going to take the easy ones. And when I need to, I'm going to try and do my layered throws and my mobility. I think he'd have a lot more success as a quarterback, and he would have a lot less criticism towards him. Because that's another thing is his decision-making has been so rough.
Yeah, I would say starting from last season, I felt like he was in a position where he told himself, like, hey, I'm the quarterback. I got to make something happen. I'm gonna throw it right here, and then end up being an interception. When he was back in that mode where, hey, I'm gonna take what the defense gives me, and then when he finds opportunities to strike, he would execute, and that's where we'd all say, God, this guy's really good. I mean, he's smart with the ball, and kind of like what you're saying earlier, I mean, especially in 2023. The one thing we kept talking about was that the Niners would win a game, and we'd say, dude, no turnovers, no picks, no fumbles, like the guy doesn't turn the ball over. This is great. And we're winning, we're running an efficient offense. But come last season, when he was missing some of his weapons, to me, look, you could be missing weapons, but you still have to have the same mind of, hey, I'm not going to make these mistakes. But I think that there could be a case of which the pressure of not being one of these elite Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Stafford quarterbacks is kind of weighing on him to a degree where he says, you know what, I got to make something happen. I'm going to force it. And then interception or, it's incomplete.
I completely agree. And I think that's the biggest issue with Brock is it seems like he's still trying to prove something. when he was at his best, when he was never trying to prove something. That was when he was at his peak. Was I'm just going to go in there and do what I need to do, and that's when he was at his best. And he admitted it. He said that at the start of this year. Well, last year I was just trying to do too much and yada yada yada. But then this year against Seattle and Jacksonville, it was the same thing. It was like you're trying, like that throw to Ricky against Seattle into triple coverage. Like there is nothing there. There was nothing there.
Well, I mean, I will say this, and I'm going to bring this up. This is from oh shit, I hit the wrong button. This is from Coach Yak. I hate when I do that. I already had it up too. And why I bring this up is because I think this also plays a massive factor in the Niners' offensive game plan. I should say in their entire offense, which is their offensive line. It's been absolutely fucking atrocious. And I think that when you look at that Seattle game, there was a lot of games where Brock was under pressure and he made some bad decisions because he was under a ton of pressure that entire game.
Sure.
You look at last night, or I should say yesterday, Niners offensive line pressures and sacks allowed for the Buccaneers. Dominic Pooney, 6, who's playing like straight ass. Instead of Dominic Pooney, it's Dominic Booty because he's playing like booty right now.
His regression's incredibly horrible to watch.
So we got Trent Williams. He gave up 2 sacks. Connor Colby gave up a sack. Jake Brendel. Colt McKivitz. I mean, they didn't play very well at all. And again, they couldn't run the football.
Yep. Yeah, and I think the running game is a two-pronged issue. I think Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson just don't have a lot of burst. I think that's another big issue. But yeah, this interior offensive line is, in my opinion, one of the worst units in the NFL. I think the only unit that's worse is the Chargers right now. It's really bad. Pooney looks lost. He looks completely lost. Connor Colby's he's just not good, and Jake Brendel's just not good. Trent is also having a crazy regression. Trent looks really, really bad. This is one of those things that everyone said preseason was going to end up biting them in the ass if they didn't fix it. And it's really biting us in the ass because it wasn't fixed. It wasn't even looked at. It wasn't
even looked at. And look, every year, the organization, I'm not just going to say Kyle, but the organization has cheaped out on the offensive line. Yes, they have Trent Williams. It's kind of like, oh, look, we still have Trent. Yeah. That's great. But one guy can't carry the entire offensive line. And this is an area in which they have not improved on year after year after year. Yes, you got Dominic Pooney last year, but this year he's playing terrible. And towards the end of last season, he also didn't play very well.
Yeah.
You didn't make any upgrades on the offensive line this past draft.
Yeah.
You brought in Connor Colby, who's a 7th round offensive lineman. At this point, I'm praying Ben Barch comes back. But again, this is an area of the team that they did not address in the previous drafts. And it's completely come back to bite them in the ass. And you look at the elite teams that are out there now, the Eagles, the Lions, they all invested in their offensive line. Even the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Went out and got offensive linemen to try and bolster up that line. The Niners haven't done that. And I feel like this is finally the year where it's becoming a problem. They can't overlook it. I mean, they can't even run the ball.
Yeah. No, this is one of those things where this is the only thing I could see them doing at the deadline is making a move for a solid guard, center, whatever, like someone young that, isn't expensive, but someone to throw in and try. This is something that if I'm the Niners, this is why I'd be a seller. I think we have a lot of holes we still need to plug. I think our safeties are awful. We need to get new safeties. We need interior offensive line. We need Trent's replacement. This is why I'd be a seller at the deadline. I'd see if you could offload Juwan for a 3rd or 4th round. I'd see if you could offload BA for, I don't know, 5th, 6th rounder. You need to get some picks because next year's draft is going to be just as big a deal as this year's draft was for the defensive side.
Well, I would say this, that they definitely need to keep investing in the draft. I don't know if I would do a fire sale at this point. We're only 4-2. The Niners go ahead and win. Let's say they win the next 2 games, 3 games. Then it's all of a sudden we're like, hey, we're back at it again. Yeah. But look, without Fred Warner in the middle of the field, obviously the middle of the field was wide open, and people all over my timeline were like, well, the middle of the field looks really open. Oh man, they're really not doing a good job covering without Fred Warner. I'm like, and I said, no shit. What'd you think was going to happen when Fred Warner left? Oh, it's fine. To get him a through, we'll step right in.
Dude.
Look, they will play better next next week
For
because they're going to be coached on what to do when they're out there. But to be thrust in there, I mean, it's pretty rough. And at this point, look, you lose Fred Warner, but at least you still have Bethune. You still have Nick Martin. You have Winters. You have Curtis Robinson. So you have a lot of guys that could step in there. Are they going to be Fred Warner? Of course not. Fuck no. But still, it's just it's tough to watch. But the Niners still have a shot, I think, to make the playoffs. Are they going to win a Super Bowl? No.
Yeah, most definitely not.
Most definitely not.
I also want to see Nick Martin. I want to stop seeing him be a healthy scratch. I want to see him play because Tatum Bethune, like, he's not to blame, man. Like, you're not ever going to look good compared to if you're trying to fill a Fred Warner-sized void.
Luke Gifford is another one, too. I'm tired of seeing Luke Gifford. I don't really know what he does. He's always on, like, the right side or the left side. He's just there for the run stopping, I guess. I never see him make much of a play. I don't know why he's there. I'm like, what's going on? Strawberry writes, linebackers are deepest position.
I disagree, man. I don't think D. Winters looks that good anymore. I think D. Winters has looked actually pretty bad lately.
The last two games he struggled. The game against the Rams, he had the lowest PFF grade of any player on both teams. I was like, oh god.
And you saw the Bucs do that a lot. They were doing that little disguise where their tight end would leak out or their running back would leak out. And yeah, man, D. Winters isn't looking good. I think right now, what's funny is I think our deepest position right now is defensive line, which prior to the season was not it. I think our defensive line, I think the draft is really good.
Yeah. I mean, so far they've hit on a lot of their draft picks. Obviously, Junior Bergen, that was a stupid pick. And I didn't like it when they did it. I was like, what? I was also against Marquis Siegel. I was like, who the hell is this guy? But I think for being a rookie, I think he's played pretty damn well for being a rookie, just kind of thrust in there. A guy that wasn't even highly, touted.
Is awful, but
his pass coverage is not very good.
His run defense is very good. Very good for safety.
And he did have the big pass breakup in the end zone against the Rams, which prevented a touchdown. So he's made some good plays. But getting Mustafa back was nice. Although I barely noticed him in there, and he looked completely out of place when he was in there, kind of like, what's up? What are we doing? Yeah. What are we doing? Yeah, it was just like, oh, look, there's Mustafa. Oh, okay, he didn't do anything.
The whole defense looked really lost the second Fred left. It seemed like they lost their quarterback. Like, even that touchdown, the long one to Johnson where Lenore didn't bump, and Lenore had to bump. And that's one of those things where you always see Fred doing it when emotion's happening. You see him screaming and pointing like, bump. And it seems like it's really sad, but without Fred there, like, obviously I fully have confidence in Saleh getting them at least half decent. I don't know about good. Like, expecting them to be good right now is rough, but I expect them to be half decent.
I felt like Saleh yesterday. If you looked at him on the sidelines, he was just like, fuck, I was supposed to get a head coaching job after this. God damn it. All these guys are fucking going down. Yeah. I hope he stays. I hope he's their defensive coordinator long term, but more than likely, I think he's going to leave and go be the head coach of probably like the Titans or whoever offers him a freaking job, but who knows. But let's go to yesterday's game, and let me go ahead and bring this up. Really ugly game. Niners lose 30-19. Mac Jones was 27-39 for 347 yards, 2 interceptions, one of which I don't think was his fault. Yeah. Kendrick Bourne obviously ran the wrong route.
Yeah.
Either way, it was going to be a bad play to begin with. But he threw 2 picks. He didn't throw any touchdowns. And that's the thing, too, is that, like, look, he threw for 347 yards.
Yeah.
But he couldn't. They didn't throw the ball into the end zone whatsoever. And you're going against one of the weakest secondaries in the league, not to mention Levante David and the other guy, the other linebacker. They're horrible in pass coverage.
Yeah.
But it felt like they weren't really taking advantage of that. But the problem is that the Buccaneers knew you guys can't run the ball.
Yeah.
In the second half especially, they were like, we're just going to come after you now. And then all of a sudden he had no time to throw because our offensive line is like butter. Like, I swear to God. If you and I lined up in the backfield for the Buccaneers, we would at least have positive yardage at the end of the game. That's how bad they are. They can't stop anybody.
Yeah. It was bad. And I think that was another big thing. We couldn't get in the end zone because every time you saw it was like a third down, Mac would make like a great throw. Even the commentators were calling it, wow, that ball couldn't have been placed better and it's just dropped.
He had some good throws.
It was like, and it felt like every time, like even on defense, dude, the 3rd and 14, we have Baker in our hands, and it's like, okay, here's a momentum play. It feels like a lot like last year. Like every time a big 3rd down on offense happened, it was a drop, and it was like, all right, well, there goes that momentum. Then on defense, 3rd and 14, we're about to sack him at midfield. Oh, wow, he somehow just broke 4 tackles and Lamar Jacksoned his way for a 1st down. It was like every time we had a play to gain some sort of momentum, we were on the receiving end of the shit end of the stick.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big thing, man. Like, I think Mac played a lot better than his box score. The biggest thing is we don't have a run game. We don't have it. It's not working. Christian McCaffrey is the only one getting carries.
54 yards. But to me, again, he got
his first touchdown, though.
He did. That felt great, too. I was like, yeah! But here's the thing, though, is that, like, I hear a lot of people talking about Christian McCaffrey and having their opinions on him. I don't think it's him. I think it's the offensive line is just not opening anything up. And you look over at, like, Rachaad White. I felt like he had a good game running. He only ran for 65 yards.
Yeah.
And the Niners couldn't stop him either. But he didn't even run for 100 yards.
Yeah. I think,
and receiving wise, 7 catches for 57 yards. Kendrick Bourne, 5 catches for 142. He had that long 56-yarder, and then he kind of disappeared. Jake Tonges, 6 catches, 58 yards. He's been a surprise.
He's been solid. I think my biggest issue with Jake Tonges is he's really easy to tackle. A lot of plays where you see, you're like, damn, George would have gotten like 15. Like, how did you let him get you by the shoestring there? Like, you're a tight end. Like, if it was like a Kendrick Bourne, a thinner dude, you'd be like, oh, that makes sense. But you're a tight end and you're just getting like everybody, they blow on you and you're falling over.
Him and Luke Farrell. Luke Farrell has been a huge disappointment this year.
Yeah,
he sucks. Like, they're like, well, he's a good run blocker. He's been horrible at run blocking. He's been horrible at pass blocking. When he catches, there was a pass against the Rams. They threw him a pass across the middle, and he could have easily have reached out or lunged for a 1st down. He just kind of rolled into a ball and fell on the ground. I was like, bro, what are you doing?
Demarcus Robinson's been awful for us, too.
Yeah, he has.
He's been really bad. I thought he was going to be a guy that was going to, like, at least be serviceable. Ricky Pearsall's always hurt, so he's been good when he's on the field, but can't stay healthy.
Yeah, Demarcus Robinson is like, what'd you do during those 3 games? Did you just sit on the couch? Did you stop working out? Like, he looks like he's like, oh man, what am I doing out here?
Yeah,
and then he dropped that pass, which was like a 1st down,
dude,
and a huge gain.
It was. I was saying this. I said if Mac Jones had BA and Pearsall, or even just Pearsall and Kittle in this game, the Niners would have won. I'm fully convinced they wouldn't have had as many drops. They would have had way more scoring opportunities.
Yeah,
like
George Kittle is a huge loss.
Dude, yeah, Kittle's rough. Like, especially, and that's another thing, like these plays where Tonjes gets him, where it's like, dang, he's still 2 yards short. Kittle would have been, he would have been gone.
There's a lot of those where it's like, oh, good catch. Oh, he's a yard short? How'd that happen?
Yeah, it's like, dude, you got tackled by that? It's like an Upton Stout sized dude that just like touched you.
And then you look over at Tampa Bay, like Tez Johnson only had the 1 catch, but of course it was a touchdown.
That was
right?
brutal.
That was
off of the. Oh, dude, that was off the 3rd and 14 too. Like, and that's what I'm saying is every time we had the momentum, man, it was like could have sacked him, saved that touchdown. That game's a 1-point game. That ending play to Mac Jones, instead of being an interception and a Pooney false start, could have been a game-winning field goal because De Niro has been crazy. He's been the only bright spot of the season.
And then he got stepped on. I was like, oh my God.
Dude, it was crazy. I felt awful. Like, the only bright spot of the team this year has really been Eddie and, like, in my opinion, the defensive line. I've been really impressed with how good they've been with.
They were good. I thought yesterday they weren't very good. Like, Kalia Davis with the club was not effective.
Sure.
I really feel that they got to give Collins and CJ West more time as starters. Yeah. I think that Jordan Elliott and Kalia Davis have done what they can do, but I think it's time to start transitioning to the younger guys. Like, hey, these guys, they're just more playmakers than you are, and they were higher draft picks than you guys are. So I think they need to give them more reps. than the other two. But it just yesterday they couldn't stop the run.
Yeah.
They couldn't run the ball.
Yep.
And it wasn't like, Tampa Bay was running all over them. You got 65 yards for Rashad White, 25 for Sean Tucker, but they were getting the runs when it counted.
Yeah,
when they had to stop, they'd get a 10-yard run. Like, fuck. And not only that, but Baker Mayfield, that 15-yard run, that was almost the game right there. When he did that, I was like,
in my opinion, that was. God. You saw the whole defense. That's what happened. The next play was Tez Johnson.
Yeah.
And the team was just like, yeah, well, this one's over. Like,
it was just a backbreaker.
Yeah. And I think that's another worry about Purdy coming back is what you just said. Like, Purdy's really good off play action. That's where his mobility and his playmaking really shines, is when we can get him out into space away from a collapsing offensive line and it's an actual threat. And that's another thing that worries me. Like, I don't think Purdy can throw 40 times a game. I think that's asking him to play a style he doesn't play.
And we haven't seen Purdy play in an Niners offense where they literally cannot run the ball. We've seen games where they have a hard time running the ball, but still, a Kyle Shanahan offense has always been an offense that runs the ball. Even Mike Shanahan as well. But this year they just can't do it. The offensive line is just shot, and I don't. And Connor Colby is in over his head. We gotta hope that Ben Barch comes back. But look at the names that we're going with. Ben Barch, this guy was a journeyman. This guy was a backup that we found that was released, and they signed him. Jake Brendel, he's got to go. Pooney has regressed.
Dude, Pooney, in my opinion, has been the biggest regression I've seen on the Niners. It has been he went from like, damn, he's pretty good to, wow, he is horrible.
He's horrible. Vita Vea ran him over yesterday. He was just like, it was just like, what the hell is going on?
Vita Vea too, like not to make it like, because Vita Vea is Vita Vea, right? But there were so many plays where you're watching and there's a free rusher, and then you're like, okay, where's Pooney? And he's just not blocking anyone. It's like,
he's on his back.
It's like, dude, what is going on? Like, at least I think Richard Sherman said it best. He had his podcast today. He's like, dude, you guys just need to get in somebody's way at least. Like, just be a body there. Like, they're running right past you. They don't even have resistance.
So I'll say this: going into next week's game, right, against the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously, look, Atlanta is not a world beater of a team. I think the Niners can beat them. Which
same. Their defensive line's atrocious. So it works.
The two games Niners have lost, they had opportunities to win those games. They were in those games, and they could have won those games. That's crazy enough as it sounds. They could be 6-0.
It was a turnover both times.
Yeah, turnovers is what killed them. So going into Atlanta, it's really going to be, okay, Brock, you've had extra time. You're supposed to be healthy. This is the time where you have to show not only, and it's not like you got to come out here and you got to sling the ball all over the field.
Yeah.
But you need to be able to manage the game and manage the offense and run the offense efficiently. If he can do that, I think they win. Not to mention he might have Pearsall back. He's going to have George Kittle back. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a huge upside for not only the run game, but for the passing game. So he's going to have more weapons. I think Mac Jones did what he could, and I thought Mac played a fairly good game, except for the interception at the end. I know we had an argument about it. I still think he could have got that ball to Tonjes for a first down, but I think it felt like he was trying to get the ball to Jennings.
He just got tricked, in my opinion. He just got tricked. It was a good coverage, in my opinion. He just got tricked. Dean's there. He's like, well, that's not there, so I got to look away. And Dean's like, he's got to look away because I'm right here.
And he's like, I know where he's gonna go.
Yeah, it was like, I got him.
And then, well, not only that, but then like when you watch the Todd Bowles reaction to that play, the look on his face is like, oh shit. Oh shit! All right, yeah. You can tell he was like, "Oh shit! Oh yeah, cool, worked out. That's great." But going in Atlanta, all of this is going to fall on Brock Purdy. Brock, yes. Can you lead the offense? Can you make the improvements that show that you're a better quarterback than Mac Jones?
And that's my thing. It is with Atlanta. I don't want to hear defensive excuses because we should be able to win a shootout against Penix in the Falcons. If he was on a rookie deal, we'd be having a completely different. You can't expect a 7th round undrafted dude to win in a shootout. Blah blah. He's now a $265 million quarterback. I expect him to beat Michael Penix Jr. and that terrible Atlanta team in a shootout. Their defensive line is bad, so there's can't be a huge excuse about offensive line. Their defensive line is one of the worst in the league. Their defense isn't great. And I think, yeah, like you said, you know what I actually want them to start mimicking a little bit is the Giants' offense with Dart. I really think to help the run game with how bad our offensive line is, dude, throw Purdy in some read options and just tell Purdy, like, just get down, just slide. Do not take a tackle. Just slide every time. I don't care if it's a 1 yard loss, get to the ground. But Purdy's quick in those 10-yard bursts. Do something like that where it's like, okay, well, running isn't working. But what if we start doing a little bit more RPOs, like read option RPOs, where Purdy really can, like, okay, the run's not there, I can take off. Okay, the run and me taking off isn't there. Finally, it's opening something up because I think that's where Purdy's really successful is play action.
Yeah.
And I think if you give him, you can't fix the run game overnight for him. The run game sucks. The only way you could do it is by throwing in another element, which we couldn't with Mac because he's playing on one leg, which would be Purdy, you're going to start running a little bit.
We could do that. It also depends on how healthy he really is. Is he at a point where he could run the ball a lot, which I'm not even sure if he really can. I do think he'll play this Sunday because they're playing at home on regular grass, and I think this is when you got to get him in there. I think another start from I think Mac Jones. If you start him one more time, I don't think he walks out of this stadium in one piece. I mean, the guy is already banged up.
He's beaten.
He's got an oblique. He's got the was it the PCL, whatever it is. He's already just banged up. So I think it's time to make that switch, and I really hope that Brock can deliver come Sunday. Another thing too, when going back to the game, there was a play that Kyle Shanahan called on 2nd and 14.
Oh my God.
He ran the ball with Christian McCaffrey, I think he got like no gain or a loss of 1. I was like, what are we doing? Why?
He's done that in consecutive weeks too. It'll be like 2nd and 10 and he hands the ball off. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck is going through your head? We can't get a run game going in the best case scenario. Why on 2nd and deep are we handing the football?
It'd be one thing if it was like 2nd and 6, 2nd and 7, 2nd and 4, but no, it was just like 2nd and 14. My only thought was, I told my brother, I was like, maybe he was trying to catch him off guard. Like, oh, they're gonna run it, boy.
That just shows
with everybody back in coverage. You know?
How bad our offensive line is, dude. We can't even catch them off guard on 2nd and 14, where they're like, well, they have to throw this run game is ass, and then they're like, oh. Wow, their run game's way worse than we thought. We didn't even send anyone. Like, and the commentators bring that up. They're like, Todd Bowles hasn't even had to blitz today, and he loves blitzing. The dude's obsessed with blitzing, and he didn't even have to blitz to stop the run. He didn't have to blitz to stop the pass. Like, we were just getting worked over offensive line, and I think that's going to be the lingering issue all year. You know, I feel like it's going to get to a point where we're beating a dead horse. We're like, yeah, well, the offensive line sucked again.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the offensive line is really hurting the Niners' offense on so many levels. But like I said, getting George Kittle back is going to be huge for San Francisco. Having him as an offensive weapon, receiving, blocking, it's going to change a lot. I mean, we saw him in the first game against Seattle. I want to say he had 3 catches on that first drive. One of them was a touchdown.
Yep,
he was a huge part of their game plan, and then he went out. It was like, oh God. And then, I mean, I guess I can announce this. Why not? We got some breaking news here.
Uh-oh.
This is the guy the Niners. Some people said Niners should go ahead and get this guy back before he signed with the Eagles, but Zadarius Smith has announced he's going to retire. Like, that's it. He's done. He came in late, left early. Like, okay, well, I got hit by Scatterboo. I'm out.
Yeah.
He's like, ooh, that was a little too real. I'm done. So now they lost a pass rusher, but whatever. They're still really good.
And that's the issue, man, is the NFL is wide open this year. Like, this is what I'm saying, man. Like, we are so cursed because this year it is wide open. If we had Fred Nick, in my opinion, we would be such easily favorites to win a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
Man,
well,
dude.
I mean, they'd be more of a contender, I'll tell you that. And here we go. We got some more breaking news. The Bears have elevated former kicker Jake Moody, and he appears slated to kick tonight on Monday Night Football.
Oh, I'm gonna hate watch so hard.
If he
tonight.
misses the kick right off the bat, it's like, bro, it's time to go. But knowing the Niners' luck, he'll probably come out.
He'll probably be the
and he'll smash like 4 field goals, 5 right down the middle. Like, oh,
he's
what
gonna
were they
hit
thinking?
like a 66-yard game winner, set the NFL record. It's gonna be right down the middle, and you're like, everyone's like, why didn't they keep him?
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're gonna do. But let me ask you about Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah,
I think so far this year, I think he's done a great job.
Yep.
With what he has, and I think he's done better than he has in previous years. And he's I think he's gotten away from some of his bad habits where he would get sometimes a little impatient, frustrated, and he'll start throwing the ball around like crazy. And you're like, bro, what are you doing? Yeah. This is back when we could just actually run the ball. And so this year, I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing a more disciplined head coach. He's more locked into what needs to get done.
Yeah.
The only really big fuck. I mean, we talked about the second 14 play call, but to me, the biggest fuck up of the season was when he didn't get the call in for that penalty, and then he called a timeout because he was "Oh, what? I didn't want that timeout." And they're like, "Well, we can't change it. We already made the call." It was kind of like it reminded me of the Super Bowl when he didn't know the rules. It was just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, why would you fucking call a timeout? Yeah. At this point, just go. Like, he's like, I call a timeout because that's not what I wanted to do. But they told me that they couldn't change the play because they already made the call. Well, no shit. I was like, come on, man. Yeah. But overall, though, I would say I think he's done a great job. But I think that having a competent defensive coordinator has made him a better head coach.
I think it's taken a lot off his plate. I also think, in my opinion, and I hate to keep harping on this because it just sounds redundant, but I think Mac Jones helps him a lot. Like, I think his offense looks like what he wants it to be, which is a lot of like quick hitters, yak. It looks a lot like it did with Jimmy in early, where it's just like efficient. Like, we're just going. We're on rhythm. We're violent. We're physical. We're just going to keep pushing down the field and chipping away at you. And I do really like how Kyle's done this year. I think whenever Kyle is like an underdog, that's when he's at his best. Like, he's like, all right, now I can really get creative. Like, now this is what I want. I need a quarterback just doing what I say, and this is what I'm going to do. I think, he still has a little bit of his bad habits. Like, we've seen a couple fourth quarters this year, like fourth quarter against Seattle. I thought it was like he was going way too conservative again. But I think in like the second and long runs just kill me. But I think for the most part, he's a really like up there coach of the year candidate. I think if he somehow gets his team to the playoffs, he should win his first coach of the year.
Yes. Through all these injuries, yes, I think he definitely should, or be in the running to win coach of the year. Because I mean, at this point, who is your coach of the year? Because the Vikings are up and down. They've had a lot of problems.
A lot of people are saying Steichen. Steichen's like the guy that everyone loves right now, Colts. But
and they've made a big turnaround, and that's another team we play later this season. That I was like, oh, that's an easy win. All of a sudden, they're winning games, like blowing teams out. I'm like,
they were my sleeper pick this year. I was saying that in a show with my brother. I was like, dude, the Colts look good. I think Daniel Jones is going to have a Darnold resurgence, and like but look where it starts with the Vikings and Darnold, and with the Colts and Daniel Jones. They have really good offensive lines. You can play football behind them. Even if the quarterbacks like Darnold and Jones aren't the best decision makers, they have time to think through their decisions. Yeah. They can run the football. Like, it's rough when you have such a bad offensive line. And I think Kyle's doing literally everything he can with what he's given. So I have to give him applause there.
And even this too, like Mac Jones, Jones against the blitz versus the Bucs, he was 5 of 10 for 47 yards and an interception. It's been one of his problems his entire career. Is that when you get pressure on him, he falters. Not a lot of quarterbacks do, but the difference between him and Brock is that Brock, when healthy, can scramble and move around the pocket, which it creates a lot of problems for defenses, which I'm hoping that come this Sunday, he's going to have that ability. If he's locked into the pocket and he can't really move, then this could go sideways real quick.
I have seen a lot though, like even when Brock Purdy struggles, it's usually against a blitz. Brock's very much similar. Whenever you send a blitz at him, he does the same thing. I also think it's also because he's shorter, it's harder for him to like get the ball. Brock struggles the same way under the blitz. And I think it's honestly because when people blitz the Niners, there are so many free rushers. Like,
yeah,
nobody's in there.
Again,
there's in your grill, like the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, where we had to take the field goal off the edge. A dude's just at Brock's face the second he's like snaps the ball. It's like
you're talking about in overtime.
Yes.
Yeah, Chris Jones was unblocked. The biggest guy on the defensive line is unblocked. He's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
If they would have blocked him, I think he was going to go to Jennings regardless. But I mean, we all know Brandon Ayuk was wide open in the end zone. So a lot of things could have happened there. But again, the offensive line failed them. And so going into out of that Super Bowl, my whole thing was, hey, this offseason, you got to upgrade your offensive line. And they didn't do it.
Nope.
They drafted Dominic Pooney and said, hey, we're good.
And I'm hoping, I don't think actually, because it's the 49ers and we never go offensive line, but I'm hoping that they do the same thing with the offensive line that they did with the defensive line this year. First round, we're going to go offensive lineman. Second round,
I mean, I think you have
go
to.
Offensive lineman again. Like,
but they won't. They won't probably, but they should.
No,
they absolutely
probably go
should.
Like a corner or another receiver like Ricky Pearsall that you haven't heard of that shouldn't be drafted as high, and then we're terrible at drafting in the first round. I think that's another big issue with the 49ers is we are awful. Besides Michael, I actually think Michael is a great pick.
He was a good pick.
I think we are so bad.
There's a lot of bad draft picks in general by San Francisco, but check this out. I ran into this during the stream and I was like, this is like pouring salt in the wound. The 49ers only had 10 men on the field in the play where Fred Warner was injured. Yeah. Would that extra player made a difference? Probably. Yeah. I wonder who wasn't out on the field.
If you look at it, it's the other edge. So it's who would have been there instead of Fred.
It's the other edge rusher. Yeah. He's on the sideline like it was like Sam O. He's like, am I supposed to be in right now?
Yeah.
What's going on?
So, dude, it sucks, man. And the Fred injury is a freak injury. I know a lot of people. I get the I hate our training staff too, but yeah, that injury that's a football injury, man. Like, I mean, your Browns under him, and
it was just a freak accident. I mean, look, even Nick Bosa's. I mean, that was a freak accident. It just happened, and it sucks.
It sucks, dude. It sucks. I hate it. I don't know what we did. I don't know what curse we've stepped in or what grave someone walked over. But dude, we got to start, lighting some sage, like doing some blood rituals. We need something to like have.
And not only that, but the one game where they're like, "Hey, Jair Brown's going to start today." He's the one who ends up rolling over his ankle. It was just like, "Fuck! If that was Jason Pinnock, would this even have happened?" He probably wouldn't have been there to make the tackle. So yeah, it would have been like, "Oh, Fred probably would have tackled him and been like, all right, let's go."
Oh, dude, it's so rough, man. Like, and that's a big thing for Fred is. That's another thing, right? Is it like I love Fred Warner. In my heart, he is a Niner for life. But do you look at getting rid of his contract? He's the highest paid linebacker, and those can be career-altering injuries. His foot went the other direction. You know?
It was pretty bad. But I mean, he did have this to say today. He said, "Now it's time to inspire through the comeback I'm about to have. It will be legendary." That's great,
I hope
dude.
so.
I sure hope so.
Like Ray Lewis. When they beat us from a gnarly injury and he just starts going bananas. But dude, it feels like a never ending with the Niners. 2023 really was the year we had to do it.
That was it, man. You know what it is? I think that like they sold their soul to the devil, but then the Chiefs sacrificed a little bit more. They're like, well, sorry guys.
We sold our soul in the Chiefs. Yeah. Well, what if we sell all of
They're like, we threw in Taylor Swift. Okay. Yeah. They're going to win. Okay, real quick, before we get to my last topic, I just want to do a quick shout out to the sponsors. SeatGeek, use promo code Dre Area Sports. You can save up to $20 on your first purchase over at SeatGeek.com. We're also brought to you by Power Brand Systems. Use promo code 300POWER to save up to $300 on your first purchase over at Power Brand Systems. Use the referral link in the description below. They will build and design a website to meet your every need, maybe for a small business, large business, social media account. You want proof of their work? Check out my website. Check out Johnny Dale's. Check out John Chapman's website. They're the ones who develop their websites. Power Brand Systems, they will not let you down. And we're brought to you by BetUS. Use promo code DreAreaSports and they will match you up to 125% on your first 3 deposits only at BetUS. It's where the game begins. Okay. We paid the bills. Let's. I'm going to go to my last question I'm going to ask you before we get out of here. If you had to predict the final score of the Atlanta game coming up at the end of the week on Sunday, do you think the Niners are going to be victorious, or is this going to be another game where it's going to be more questions than answers?
If Brock is truly 100% healthy, I'm not saying Jacksonville healthy where we're going to say, well, his toes actually hurt.
He was not. He looked awful in Jacksonville.
If he is truly 100% healthy or Mac Jones is playing, I think we are going to win. I think we're going to win probably like 30-23, something like that. If Brock is hurt and he is trotted out, I think we are going to lose. I think it's going to be like a 16-24 game. I have Atlanta getting around 24 points.
I would say if Brock is healthy, I'm not going to go higher than 26. I think you said the same thing. 26-24 because I don't know how much the defense can hold them back.
Man, that's what I'm saying.
Because I'm like, I don't know if they're going to hold them over 20 anymore.
Do you know what Bijan's going to do to Bethune and D. Winters and Jair Brown? My God, he's going to have like 150 rushing yards. Check it on BetUS.
I mean, the defensive line has to show up to stop the run. And, I mean, when you look at the numbers against the Buccaneers, you would say, well, they kind of did that. But when you watch the game, it didn't fucking feel that way.
Yeah,
it felt like they were just running the ball at will. It was like
Baker Mayfield broke 5 tackles, so I'm not.
That was God, and that's the second time he's done that. Remember Nick Bosa was like walking with them last season. He throws for a first down. I was like,
they're kryptonite, man.
But you know what it is though is that with Nick Bosa, you can't do like the hip drop tackle. Like you can't just grab him and swing your hips out and pull him down. So he was just like, oh shit. Yeah. They just threw the ball.
I feel like if I'm Nick, bro, I'm so much bigger than you. I'm just ripping you to the floor. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
You would think, right? But who knows?
But okay, if Brock isn't healthy, what do you got? Like if he goes out again, like a Jacksonville game where he's just back.
I mean, in Jacksonville, they had a shot to win the game until he got strip sacked by Eric Armstead of all people. If he's not healthy, I'd say we probably lose 27-17.
Okay, so yeah, we're around the same thing. The defense
it's kind of like what we just saw, where they're just gonna add one more score, and you're like, ah, shit. It's like watching the San Francisco Giants. It's like they score 4 runs, and you're like, well, we're fucked. Yeah, you're just like, we're not gonna make that up anytime soon.
and that's the thing. I think for Brock Purdy, your mission is just keep it simple, man.
Don't turn the ball over.
Yeah, like follow the KISS sales method. Keep it simple, stupid. Like just take what you're given. Don't do anything cute. Just be 23 Brock. Just chill. Take a deep breath.
And not only that, but it's like, the pass he threw in the Jacksonville game where he got intercepted. McCaffrey couldn't catch it. It was intercepted. He had a check down wide open. Take the fucking check down, dude. Don't try to be Superman. Just I'm moving the ball forward. I'm positive yardage. Give the defense take what the defense gives you. And don't try to do too much. And I think that's where he can capitalize on, because when you start playing like that, then you can really capitalize on the mistakes they make, because you catch them off guard. Like, okay, I see you fucked up there. Now I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
Without having to force it.
I'm hoping watching Mac again the last couple weeks against the Rams and even this game, like his offense was fine. I'm hoping Purdy, like for whatever reason he hasn't realized it yet, but I'm hoping he does find like, okay, I don't need to play hero ball, because Mac didn't. He beat the Rams with nobody. So I think I'm just hoping in my heart of hearts that Brock Purdy has been watching and has been like, I don't need to do too much. No matter who's my receivers, I do not need to go crazy and scramble around for 5 minutes to throw a pick. I just can first read, first read, first read. Oh, okay, second read, second read. Oh, check down. Like Kyle's system's good. Kyle's in his bag this year. He is on fire.
And guys, before we get out of here, make sure I've just revamped the website. So make sure that you check out DreAreaSports.com. That's the best way to be in contact with me and my content. And there are memberships available under Dre Area Sports right there. Become a member, and it's a great way to support the channel. I have my other channels too, but Dre Area Sports is right there. So definitely check out DreAreaSports.com. I'll be adding a blog section as well and more features as the season goes on. So definitely check that out. Tyler, what do you got lined up for the rest of the week?
Just praying that we have some players back. Doing a couple more shows and hoping we get a win, man. What about you?
Just, I'll be live again Wednesday for the Madden simulation. I do that every week. And then I'll be live again on Friday for Cover 3, which is when we talk about me and Sterling and Aaron, and we do a breakdown of the Niners. Mainly just bitch about the injuries. But I'll tell you, this was me yesterday. When I saw Fred Warner get hurt, This was me watching the game yesterday. It's
Dude,
too much.
I saw that and I was like, all right, it's Fred. He's getting back up. And then I saw the cart and I was like, all right, this is my 13th reason. I'm out.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, please, dude, God, no.
My dad texted me and my dad was even like, dude, I've been through the highs and the lows with this team. To the Tim Rattay era.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, we've been through it, but this one just hurts more because it's like we don't need to be like this. We can be good. It's just
still
the world won't let us.
So again, I think that Sunday, the season is riding on the shoulders of Brock Purdy.
Yes.
He's gotta be that number one quarterback and lead this team to victory.
Brock. Prove me wrong.
Prove Tyler wrong.
Yes.
We want you to prove Tyler wrong.
Let me get the tweets and the hate mail.
Because if you don't, he's gonna let you have it.
I'm gonna be at the Houston game and I'm gonna be chanting, "We want Mac" from quarter 1 to quarter 4, dude.
When he streams a Grant next week, it's gonna be like, fucking sharpen the blades. Here we come.
The pitchforks will be out. You gotta beat the Falcons, dude.
You gotta beat them. You gotta beat them.
Can we at least agree on that? If you're held, there's no excuse to not beat the Falcons.
You gotta beat the Falcons. I mean, realistically, you should win the next 3 games, but then the Giants game, now you got Jackson Dart. I'm like, oh god, they look pretty good now. Shit.
Yeah, dude.
Can we get Russell Wilson back out there? Do us a favor.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, we gotta beat the Falcons, man. This has to be the start. Like, I believe if Brock Purdy can go back to 2023, he can do it. I do. I think if he plays like he's been the last year, it's going to be really bad for him, and you're going to make it really hard for the Niners to want to stick with you as a quarterback. Yeah. Like, you can't be dropping games like this because, in my opinion, the Giants game is harder than the Falcons game, in my opinion, because that defensive line in New York is not a joke. They are scary, and that's on MetLife. So we're good for 2 injuries on that turf.
Trent's next. He's my ankle,
bro. It's not going to be pretty on
paper
that
mache ankle. It's like,
oh my god,
there it goes. All right, guys. I want to thank Tyler for coming out and dropping a fire stream, guys. I'll be live again this Wednesday at about 11 a.m. Pacific time for the Madden simulation, Niners and Falcons. Then again, I'll be live this Friday with Aaron Sterling for Cover 3. Niners take on the Falcons this Sunday. They got to get it done. They got to get it done. They got to improve to 5-2. You don't want to go to 4-3 because then you're just in the middle of the pack and it's just not good. They got to get it done. Brock's got to get it done. It's going to be a big game for the entire team.
Yeah.
But for myself and Tyler, thank you everyone who came out. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
You're listening to the Dre Area Sports Show, live on YouTube and X. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.